Hi, so I'm back again. This time we're diving straight into digestion. The digestive system, very important to understand with relation to what happens to the digestive system during pregnancy. A rather large impact. So you need to know it as a non-pregnant system to be able to understand what actually happens to it during pregnancy. Two sections. The alimentary tract is the mouth, the pharynx, the esophagus, stomach, small and large intestines, rectum, and eventually the anus. Then the accessory organs are the salivary glands in your mouth, liver, largely important, break down and get rid of your wastes and it also delivers the gall via the gallbladder to be able to digest certain foods, and then the pancreas, which provides, one of the things it provides is the enzymes for digestion. The digestive tract, so then, and its accessory organs are what process food into molecules so that they can be absorbed as nutrients by the body. The wall of the digestive tract has 4 layers, or tunics. It's the mucosa, the mucus layer, the inside layer, the layer that comes into contact with whatever you ingest, the submucosa that lines that, the muscular layer which allows the digestive tract and your stomach to be able to, your throat to be able to swallow, your stomach to be able to digest, your large intestine and small intestine to be able to move the matter through it, and then the serous layer or serosa, which is the outer covering. Yeah, the food goes through a whole process, of course, digestion, absorption, elimination, but our digestive system has to take out everything that's good in what we eat or drink to utilize it for the body, for us to be able to function and live. And we will go into this in great detail when I give you nutrition, but it's really important to know that it starts with ingestion, mechanical digestion, which starts in the mouth with chewing and the tongue. Also, some of mechanical digestion happens in the stomach, but chemical digestion then takes over with your ascorbic acid and enzymes and various juices to be able to digest. The movements, which is the peristalsis, to move the matter through, and then absorption mainly in the small intestine, and in the large intestine, absorption of the fluids, mostly, some nutrients, but mostly fluids, to take fluids out of the fecal matter, and to give it a good form. Too dry, not enough liquids in your diet, or too slow in the peristalsis, too loose and wet, not enough time for the large intestine to withdraw the fluids, or a large intestine that is not efficient. Something is the matter in the lining or in its function, and so it doesn't absorb any of the fluids out. And then finally, of course, we have the elimination, which is as important as the ingestion, because if you don't eliminate, your body is full of toxins. So respiration, another very important organ system that takes quite a knock, or in fact changes rather drastically during pregnancy. And I take a deep breath. That's the first part of respiration, is to breathe, of course. And basically what respiration is it's a way to get oxygen into our body and to provide ourselves with oxygen to be able to work. Not enough oxygen lowers the pH in the body, makes the body more acidic. That's one way of seeing how well people are breathing. Something you will come across when you're a midwife and checking on how a fetus is doing medically is sometimes also done by checking how much oxygen the baby is receiving, and by checking the pH. But we'll get to that, don't worry. So every 3 or 5 seconds, nerve impulses. Actually, so there we go, the nervous system again tells us to take a breath. It's an involuntary action of our bodies. And then the air goes through the lungs, and there is an exchange of gases. This is called external respiration. The blood transports gases to and from tissue cells, and the exchange of gases between the blood and tissue cells is called internal respiration. And finally, the cells utilize the oxygen for specific activities, and this is called cellular metabolism or cellular respiration. So the organs involved are the pharynx, which is actually the throat. Starts at the base of the skull. And then the larynx, which is what I'm using very, very well right now, which is your voice box. And then the trachea, which is generally called your windpipe. It's the main airway to the lungs, because of course in your pharynx you also have to be able to swallow your food through. So the trachea divides, makes that the windpipe where the air goes through, and it divides into the left and right bronchi of the lungs, and then becomes smaller and smaller. Eventually terminates at the tiny little sacs called alveoli, and I do want you to have a look at that function very, very carefully in your books. I won't go into that here. The two lungs contain the components of the brachial tree. The right lung is shorter and broader and divided into 3 lobes. This side, the liver is pretty much in the way here. And the left lung is longer and narrower and is divided into 2 lobes. To go with the respiration is our cardiovascular system. This consists of the heart, which is a muscle, a muscular pumping device, and a closed system of vessels called arteries and veins, and then the very small ones are capillaries. Blood contained in the circulatory system is pumped by the heart around this closed system or circuits, and that is called then circulation. The heart is the main vessel of the circulatory system, and the heart is it's about as big as a man's fist, and it's a very strong muscular pump, which is triggered by the brain to actually pump. And it has 4 chambers. I do want you to look into this very, very carefully. We need to know about the chambers and how the blood pressure actually functions for when we're taking blood pressure during pregnancy. So I do want you to look at the distal and the systole pressures and what that actually means and what is happening when that happens. But suffice to say that the heart is enclosed in a pericardial sac, which is lined by a serous membrane, and the serous membrane forms the outer layer, which is called the epicardium. The endocrine system is the next system that we're going to look at. And the endocrine system influences absolutely every single cell and organ that function in our body. Absolutely every single thing. They play a role in regulating moods and growth, in development, in tissue function, in metabolism, in sexual function, reproduction. Hormones play a very large role, and we do often hear about hormones being out of balance. Hormones are actually the messengers in our body. The hormone system is hormones and glands, and they send messages and give instructions from one set of cells to another. We have the exocrine and the endocrine. And the exocrine glands have ducts called, the endocrine system have ducts called glands, and these ducts or glands are the sweat glands and salivary glands, which we do sometimes call ducts. The endocrine system, which is regulated by feedback, and this is something you do need to know pretty well. It's called positive feedback system, negative feedback system, and it's called the negative feedback system, yes. And it's the hypothalamus, the pituitary and pineal, the thyroid, parathyroids, adrenal glands, pineal, reproductive organs and the pancreas, and here we see them as we move down the body. And the brain sends messages, the organs send messages, and they pick up messages from, again, environment. So think of the hormone made by the adrenal gland in the flight reaction. Also think of pheromones, which are hormones that are actually external, that can be detected from one person to another. And this feedback system that I was talking about, the negative feedback system, is that when something happens externally, for instance, the snake in the grass that gives you a fright and your body makes adrenaline, when the adrenaline gets to a certain level in the body, the brain, the hypothalamus, the pituitary that sends the signal, make more. As soon as the body is kind of suffused in adrenaline, the body will get a signal to say, it's enough, that's it, we're done. It doesn't just keep coming. Whereas we'll learn about another feedback system which happens with the only hormone that does that in the body, which is during birth, during labor and birth, the oxytocin hormone, which actually has a positive feedback system. I have some websites that I've put on your resources. I really do want you and urge you not just to look and read your paragraphs that I've set you, or the pages I've set you in your book, but also to look at these websites. There are quizzes on the websites. It's a kind of dummy anatomy and physiology for dummies. If this is your very first time that you're being introduced to this work,